Before the breakthrough, before the progress, before the world sees the change, there's a quiet space where it all starts. It's not in the noise of motivation, but in the stillness of realization. In that silence, you begin to hear your own truth. You start noticing the thoughts you've been running from, the feelings you've been numbing, and the potential you've been hiding beneath the chaos. Silence is where strength is born. It's not weakness, it's awareness. It's the space where your mind slows down long enough for your soul to catch up. Most people fear silence because it reveals everything. The truth about who they are, what they've lost, and what they still need to heal. But those who stay long enough in it discover something extraordinary: clarity. In silence, you stop performing. You stop pretending. You start hearing the whisper that says, "You are meant for more." And that whisper is not loud, but it's persistent. It doesn't beg for attention. It commands alignment. That's the moment where real transformation begins. When you stop reacting to everything around you and start responding to what's within. Silence teaches discipline. It trains your energy. It reminds you that peace doesn't come from avoiding the storm. It comes from learning to be still inside it. When you master silence, you don't need to prove anything. You move with quiet confidence. You no longer rush to be seen or understood. You become your own validation. And from that silence comes peace. Peace is not just calmness, it's command. It's the ability to stay centered when everything else is shifting. It's knowing that you don't have to control the outcome. You only need to control your response. Peace doesn't mean you don't care. It means you've decided to care differently. The more you protect your peace, the more you start to see who and what truly deserves your energy. Peace makes you powerful because it gives you clarity. When you're calm, you can hear what your next move should be. When you're grounded, you can see opportunities that chaos hides. People often think peace is passive, but it's not. Peace is strategy. It's energy used wisely. It's choosing to stay silent when ego wants to argue, to stay still when fear wants to rush, and to stay kind when anger wants to win. Peace is not the absence of motion, it's the mastery of it. And once you taste true peace, you stop giving it away so easily. You realize your energy is sacred, and not everyone should have access to it. That's when peace begins to evolve into something deeper: boundaries. Boundaries are not walls. They are bridges between who you were and who you're becoming. They don't shut people out. They protect what's sacred within you. A boundary is not a rejection. It's a declaration. It says, my peace matters. My growth matters. My energy is not for everyone. When you start setting boundaries, you begin to reclaim your focus. You stop scattering your attention across things that drain you. You stop explaining yourself to those who never wanted to understand. You stop apologizing for doing what's best for your spirit. Boundaries teach you what alignment really feels like. They help you see that not every connection deserves access, not every fight deserves engagement, and not every emotion deserves a reaction. You start learning the difference between reacting to protect your ego and responding to protect your peace. And that's where focus begins to grow. Focus is not about doing more, it's about doing what matters. It's the ability to direct your energy towards something meaningful without being pulled by distractions or doubts. Focus sharpens when you stop trying to be everywhere and start being exactly where you need to be. When you learn to focus, you stop confusing activity with progress. You begin to understand that movement means nothing without direction. You realize that purpose doesn't live in multitasking, it lives in mastery. The world around you will always try to steal your attention. It will tempt you with urgency, noise, and comparison. But real focus requires silence again. A return to presence, to breath, to being. It's not just about closing the door to the world, it's about opening the door to yourself. When your focus aligns with your values, you become unstoppable. You're no longer chasing success just to prove your worth. You're pursuing meaning because it fulfills your soul. And the more you stay in alignment, the more your energy becomes magnetic. Opportunities start to flow where focus goes. And then comes the most powerful shift of all, when focus turns into action. Action is where your transformation starts to take shape. It's where all that silence, all that peace, and all that focus begin to manifest into something real. Action doesn't always look big or dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet consistency. Sometimes it's getting up when it's hard, forgiving when you don't want to, or staying disciplined when no one is watching. True action is not about doing everything. It's about doing the right things with intention. It's not about speed. It's about direction. It's not about being busy. It's about being effective. The loudest person in the room isn't always the most powerful. It's the one who moves with purpose. Let your actions speak louder than your emotions. Let your results speak louder than your explanations. When you act from clarity, you stop needing to convince anyone. Your growth becomes your proof. And as action becomes your rhythm, you start to evolve without forcing it. You start to become. Every small, consistent action reshapes you. Every choice that honors your peace over your pride, your purpose over your comfort, builds a different version of you, one that is aligned, steady, and grounded. Becoming doesn't happen overnight. It's not one moment of change. It's a collection of quiet shifts that happen over time. The world might not notice it yet, but you feel it. You begin to think differently, move differently, react differently. That's transformation. True becoming is an inside job. It's not about changing your surroundings first. It's about changing your mindset, your energy, your story. You start to realize that the world doesn't change when you demand it. It changes when you evolve. Becoming means releasing control. It means trusting the process even when you can't see the results. It means believing that every challenge is shaping you, not breaking you. That every delay has purpose. That every setback has a lesson. You stop asking, why me? And start saying, try me. You stop being frustrated with the process and start being grateful for the preparation. Growth doesn't always feel like growth. Sometimes it feels like chaos. Sometimes it feels like confusion. But even in that, something beautiful is happening. You're being refined, reshaped, and redefined. The path of becoming isn't smooth, it's sacred. Because when you outgrow old versions of yourself, it hurts. You start losing interest in things that once thrilled you, and people who once understood you may no longer relate. That's okay. You're not meant to fit into places you've already evolved beyond. Becoming means learning how to walk alone, not in loneliness, but in peace. It means choosing self-respect over attachment and clarity over comfort. It means realizing that you are not falling apart. You're falling into place. And slowly, you start to feel something shift. You start to embody peace rather than chase it. You start to radiate purpose rather than search for it. You begin to understand that becoming is not about being better than others. It's about being truer to yourself. This phase of becoming is where your silence turns into wisdom, your pain turns into strength, and your patience turns into purpose. You begin to glow differently because you've healed differently. You begin to attract differently because you've aligned differently. And one day you wake up realizing you're no longer who you were. You're lighter, freer, and stronger. You've stopped trying to prove your worth and started living it. You've stopped reacting to noise and started responding with peace. That's when becoming turns into something even greater: wholeness. Wholeness is not about having everything. It's about being connected to your peace, your purpose, and your truth. It's about living from a place where nothing external can shake what's already solid within you. Wholeness happens when your thoughts, actions, and emotions stop fighting each other. When you stop living in pieces and start living in peace. You no longer look for validation because your worth no longer depends on anyone's approval. You no longer chase attention because you've realized your presence is powerful enough. Wholeness feels like balance, not perfection. It's not about never breaking. It's about knowing how to rebuild. It's not about controlling life. It's about trusting it. It's the calm that comes after the storm, the confidence that follows every lesson, the wisdom that silence has taught you. When you reach wholeness, you stop over-explaining, over-giving, and overthinking. You learn that not every opinion deserves a response, and not every invitation deserves your energy. You stop living to be liked and start living to be aligned. Wholeness doesn't mean the absence of struggle. It means the presence of understanding. You still feel pain, but you don't live in it. You still face challenges, but you no longer fight yourself while facing them. You know when to let go, when to hold on, and when to simply trust that life is guiding you where you're meant to be. You begin to carry peace wherever you go, not because life is perfect, but because you are present. You start walking differently, not with arrogance, but with assurance. You've seen darkness, but you didn't stay there. You've known silence, and it became your teacher. You've known loss, and it became your wisdom. This is wholeness, not the absence of pain, but the integration of it. It's when you realize that everything you've been through was preparation, not punishment. That silence was strength, that boundaries were protection, that focus was direction, that action was transformation, that becoming was awakening. And now, standing in your wholeness, you finally see the truth. You were never missing anything. You were only returning to yourself. The journey that began in silence has brought you home, not to a place, but to a presence that is grounded, peaceful, and powerful. You no longer need to chase anything, not validation, not success, not love. Because when you are whole, everything meant for you moves toward you. You attract what aligns with your energy, not what feeds your emptiness. You begin to walk in purpose, love in peace, and live in truth. This is the full circle, the transformation of silence into power, of peace into strength, of focus into creation, and of action into becoming.